First of all, Zainab, if I could, your reactions to those extraordinary scenes of reporters mounting what effectively was a sort of home invasion of what should still be a crime scene. What did you think?
It's absolutely unbelievable. It points to a new low in journalism here in the West. I think historically journalism has been a case of reporting facts, not being necessarily the first one to report it. And I think that what we saw earlier today, it just shows that, you know, journalists are trying to find that one post that will become more viral instead of waiting to see what the facts are.
We're still a little bit confused about why they were even allowed to do this, but is it possible that the FBI basically flung open the doors to the suspect's apartment in order for us to then show, or for journalists to show the rest of America and the rest of the world how these people were living?
You know, we've heard conflicting reports about what transpired. Some reports indicate that the landlord was under the assumption that he was clear to allow the journalists to enter the apartment. Some reports indicate that the officers, the police, and investigators did clear the journalists to enter. Either way, it's very clear that this was still a very active crime scene. And now we have fingerprints on what could potentially have been used as evidence. And not to mention that there's secure confidential information, driver's license and security cards of the suspects, that one of whom was a domestic violence victim, that are now speared all over the media.
I mean, the really interesting point here, which is I don't think being debated very much in America at all, but it certainly fascinates us, is to what extent is this terrorism, and is the label of terrorism used in the right way in the United States when you get mass shootings, of which, of course, you get an awful lot?
We know that there's a very clear distinction, disparity with how cases are reported, how incidents are reported when the suspect is believed to be Muslim or if they are Muslim. We witnessed another mass shooting in the United States, another tragic, horrific mass shooting that claimed the lives of 3 innocent people, Army veteran, Iraq War veteran actually, a police officer, and a young mother. And in that incident, the perpetrator, the suspect, was a white male, and the way that that story was reported is very different from the way that this story is reported at the incident that took place in San Bernardino. Of course, American Muslims share in the grief of all Americans, and globally we've had outpouring of support and condolences from all over the world. But the fact of the matter is that we do see that there is a clear distinction in how these cases are treated, and there's a very tangible backlash against the Muslim community.
And what does this do to relations between the Muslim community and the rest of the United States? Because, I mean, I lived there for years after 9/11, and relations seem to be pretty good, but that is not necessarily the case anymore, is it?
No, we've seen an unprecedented level of hate crimes and bias attacks targeting Muslims here in the United States over the last few weeks. Even post 9/11, the level of anti-Muslim bigotry was not to this extent. The backlash towards the Muslim community was not this pronounced. And unfortunately, whenever these kind of incidents happen and the way that the stories are reported, the way that the incidents are reported, it creates a further alienation of the Muslim community here in the United States, a sense of otherization.
Okay, got to leave it there, I'm afraid. Zainab Chaudry, thank you very much indeed.